Remember there used to be a door there. You set those down. What day is it today? Where's my phone? Where is my, oh there it is. I put my phone up here and I actually shut it off. Because you ever have one of those days where you just want to smash your phone with a hammer? Yeah, that's my day. So I turned it off so I could pay attention to what I was doing. Thought I'd do a quick update on the garbage to greatness, garbage picked fan. At this point, I have probably close to 50 hours, 50 hours of runtime on it. I'm on my second air filter already. I was coming up on about 40 hours of runtime on this thing, and that filter was funky. But that single filter handled the demo. You can see there is some dust on the floor. What the hell's clicking? Oh, the radiator's kicked on. I kept hearing clicking. It sounded like it was coming from there, but it's coming from there. I don't know what the hell time. It's been a long day. 6:42, April 20th, 2016, Wednesday. Look at that truck. Yeah, it's time for me to go home. It's been a long day. But where was I? Oh, the first filter I got close to 40 hours. I think it was about 36 or 37 hours of actual runtime on that thing before that white filter was completely brown. And it handled, like I said, it handled all the demo. I had this demoed in 3 days, this kitchen on the other side of this wall where that door used to be. We'll talk about that in a minute. I replaced it today, and I've got about, I fired it up around 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 hours and 40 minutes or so of runtime. What time did I say it was? 6:43. Oh, I got 2 voice messages, yeah. So this one's had quite a bit of runtime on it. And there's a few things I do want to point out, a few things I've changed, a couple things that I found that are pretty cool about this thing. First of all, it's really cool because it blows so much air, it's comfortable. It was well into the 80s, well, I shouldn't say well into, it was into the low 80s the last couple days, and it was kind of stuffy in here. So the amount of volume of air, the volume of air this thing moves was really a welcomed sight. Secondly, when I first got this thing, I ran it for about an hour and a half. I was doing I was tiling an entryway of an apartment building. It was about 470 square feet. And it was hot and kind of muggy in there, and I had this thing rolling around in my truck, and I thought, well, let me fire it up and see how this thing runs. I had just picked it up out of the garbage. Look at that, my phone's ringing. See, there's a reason why I had this damn thing shut off. Oh, look, 2 new messages. That's fantastic. Yeah, maybe I should get a smartphone, right? So I can also have email and instant messaging. That's what I need, the interweb, to just totally waste my day. Phone calls and text messages are enough, but I digress. One of the cool things, when I was running this, I ran it for about an hour and a half the very first day I got it, and the motor, this is a 1/2 horsepower, 110 volt motor. You see it got a little dusty in there because I think I let it go too long in between filter changes and stuff was getting through. This motor got really hot, and by really hot, it's a relative term. I guess I didn't put a thermometer on there and see, but if I put my hand on there, it was warm, you know, warm and uncomfortable. I probably couldn't cook an egg on it, but if I had put an ice cube on there, it would have melted quickly. Now, as you can see, I just turned this thing off, and I got my hand on here, and this is barely above ambient temperature. I guess the benefit of having it enclosed in a box now. Remember when they was in the, well, I don't know if you remember because you didn't see it, but when it was in the plumbing shop, this thing hung from the rafters just wide open. And now that it's inside a box, this space here is your negative pressure space. So you've got airflow that comes in through here and it keeps it cool. So I think that's a benefit. I guess when it was hanging, well, not I guess, but when it was hanging from the rafters, the air intake would go straight into here, and you wouldn't get much circulation around here. But now that it's in a box, you have no choice but to have air circulating and here cool intake air. So that was pretty neat. Look, you can already tell how dirty this thing is. Yeah, so that's a benefit. That's a second really cool thing that I found about this. It helps if you put it in straight. I made this really tight. One of my commenters, and you guys know that I do read all my comments and I respond to 97.3% of all my comments. Somebody had mentioned, and I'll put his username or her username down here. They said, well, why don't you put the corner pieces on the little chingus that holds the filter in? Because that's also a corner of plywood that could be damaged if it got nicked on something. And thank you, that makes perfect sense. And I did that, I added that. Another thing that I added, just because I have so many hours on this, somebody else had mentioned, actually a couple people had mentioned that they felt that the thing was getting sucked in too much, right? Maybe you should put an intake screen. Well, after running this for the first day, I realized that this hole here, the filter's 16 by 20, I think this hole's 14 by 18. It just wasn't big enough, you know, especially after this filter got dirty. I could see the filter was getting drawn, the pleats were really getting drawn in. And I stood in front of it here and I lifted this thing up to give it wide open throttle, and you really felt the difference in air intake. So by day 3 or so, I added this. Yeah, buddy, a second filter. And I don't know if somebody recommended that. I'm sure a couple people recommended that. But I did add it. One of the benefits to having this open, a 14 by 18 hole open on here, is that it's easier to access the oil cap for the squirrel cage on here and for the motor on this side. I mean, not that I couldn't access it from here, but I had to reach through the fan. It just makes it easier, and it makes a world of difference. Like I said, I've got whatever, 9 hours and 40 minutes on this right now. The pleats are nice, everything works well. So this wasn't added, I appreciate that. Another commenter, and I don't remember the commenter's name because I don't have my interweb here with me, but I'll put the name below. This commenter said you should put a speed controller on there or a rheostat. And you know what? That's a fantastic idea. I hadn't even thought about that. That might come in actually handy when I don't want this thing running at 100% wide open throttle. And I'm going to, in the spirit of a recycle garbage picked device that I'm into for I got about 20 bucks in materials in this thing. Actually less, because I really shouldn't include the consumables, but whatever. I'm going to find one, and I can't use a standard dimmer because that's a 1/2 horsepower motor. I need to find a rheostat or a speed controller that's capable of handling a 1/2 horse motor. I'll come across one. I'm not going to go out and buy one. I'm going to use it as it sits right now until I come across one, and when I do, I will add it to this, because that might be fun to be able to gate this down. It might be very usable. And last but not least, in the spirit of keeping this video under 10 minutes, hopefully, I was digging through Home Depot today. And as I normally do, I walked by the aisle of filters, and like I think I've mentioned to you, this is probably the lower end. This is not the cheapest filter, but this is the lower end when it comes to filtration stuff. These run on the low side at $2. It's like $2 and some change when you buy a 3-pack, right? Individually, they're about $2.50. Actually, it's closer to $3, $2.75, something like that, whatever. Individually, but if you bought a 3-pack like I did, it was $2 a pop. And since I've already gone through my first filter, I slid these 2 filters in, so there's my 3-pack. I wanted backup filters, so I went to Depot, and I found these by Swiffer. Now, if you've ever gone to Home Depot, you look for, or at least I always look for the beam stickers, the price tags that are yellow backed, right? Their standard stickers, price stickers are black and white, but the stuff they discontinue and mark down is yellow. And I found these ones by Swiffer. This has everything this filter had. I got these for $3 a piece, and I ended up getting 4 of them. They had 6 in the little clearance box, but 2 of them were smashed, and it's kind of important to have a intact cardboard structure for this particular application. So I didn't take the other 2, but I took these 4. These were $3 a piece plus tax, which is awesome, and they are also mold and bacteria, which this one doesn't do, right? This one claims to do dust lint, dust mites, pollen, and pet dander. This one does, as does the Swiffer, but now the Swiffer says they'll do mold and bacteria. It also says it'll hold 1.5 times more dust. That's an interesting claim, but when I got it up here compared to the other one, look at the number of pleats by the PPI, pleats per inch. The Swiffer has significantly more. So I do suspect their claim's probably pretty close. I bet this has a lot more surface area. to catch stuff. So I bet this would be able to catch quite a bit more dirt before I have to recycle it. You can see the difference in color too. White. That other one used to be white, but it's loaded with dirt. But yeah, so maybe I scored a bit on these Swiffers. They're discontinued, so they probably didn't sell too many of them, I guess. And if they were sellers and movers, they wouldn't be marked down to $3 a piece. That's what I got to look at. But the comparable one, Honeywell sells a comparable filter that was $9, I think. It was $9 or $10 a piece. Because the top of the line Honeywell filter for this size runs close to $17 a pop. So that would be $35 to filter this out in the super Honeywell filters. Am I boring you guys yet? Is this interest to anybody besides me because I'm a dork on this stuff? I do like having that second filter. That really, really increased the airflow. All right, anyhow, it's time for me to go. I think I started this at 6:42, right? And what time is it? 6:53. Holy crap, 11 minutes. I'm going to have to do some editing because I can't put you guys through this. Listen, I got to run. I appreciate you watching. I really, really appreciate you watching. All right, got to go. Got to run. See ya.